What's up, everybody? Unfortunately, we have not figured out what has caused our equipment malfunction, so we have to record the old-fashioned way one more time.
The old-fashioned way. Recorded through Skype, just the way that my granddaddy used to.
So, please, sorry for that.
We've had a somewhat inconsistent schedule lately, so we figured better to put out content with shitty quality on my end than no content at all. So I apologize because it is all on my end. We're trying. I mean, just to give you some insight, I set up about an hour ago, and we've been troubleshooting all that time, just trying to get rid of this fucking buzzing noise. So there's like 3 different cables that it could be. So we're gonna. we have no way of knowing which one it is until we buy the new ones and then one by one go through. So I've ordered the new cables, and hopefully we can get back to normal next week.
Yeah, the postal service is slowed down everywhere, so hopefully that doesn't affect us too much. But nonetheless, here we are, and we're going to talk about something that you might recognize when you see the modern day depiction of it. But I came across it a very interesting way. It's something called the Lusca. Have you ever heard of this, Mike?
The Lusca?
Yeah.
This isn't some sort of dirty sexual act, is it?
No, it sounds like a Romanian seduction dance.
Maybe it could be.
I hope so.
Are we talking about the mating habits of ancient Romanians?
No.
Is that what this episode is about?
No.
Have I been duped?
I wish it was. I wish it was.
Become dating service for ancient Romanians.
Oh,
this is bullshit.
All ancient types.
We've got ties to time traveling, but this is a little ridiculous. I don't think our listeners much care. Maybe there's one. Maybe we've got one listener that cares about ancient Romanian dating dances. So
I think you just came up with our new side business, dude. We're gonna make a dating service for time travelers.
Yeah, no, time is no longer a constraint. Maybe your soulmate is thousands of years in the future. You there, future man, have you ever wanted to date a filthy, dirty caveman? Now you can. We'll need to get a near endless supply of babblefish too, because people, if they crossing centuries, they're not going to have any clue what the hell people are trying to say. You send someone back, even to England, they're sitting there talking old English, you're going to be like, well, what the fuck are you talking about? I can understand like every 7th word you're saying.
No, see, that's the beauty of the plan. We don't have to take it that serious because it's not for us to go back in time and find them mates. These are for active time travelers that probably already speak English. But it's not going to be a busy endeavor. Once in a while, somebody dressed like...
Oh, so it's going to be clandestine?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay,
Genghis Khan with the laser blaster arm will walk in and be like, I'm Brody. And we'll be like, man, check this one out.
I've got a lizard lady with your name on it.
She's lost in time and in love.
You just need to go back in time. Get your lady.
So if you're a lizard lady who's a time traveler as well, please send in your profile to aldopo@gmail.com.
He'll be more than happy to hear from you, I'm sure.
Alas, though, Lusca is not ancient Romanian.
No, yeah, I forgot what set us off on this tangent. Oh my God, we're 2 minutes into the show and already off the rails.
Oh God, okay, yeah. It is a creature that is said to hunt in the blue holes found around
You're fucking lying. There's no way the Lusca is a creature.
It is a creature that loves blue holes.
If it's not a dance, then it's got to be a hat.
Ooh, I like that.
Is it a killer hat? Are we doing an episode about a killer hat?
Or like an ancient military service blade, a Lusca.
Ooh, yeah. Used once it's drawn, you can't put it back unless blood is drawn. The Lusca.
But this creature is said to hunt the blue holes found in and around the Bahamas, particularly the island of Andros, and an area called Exuma, which is a district that consists of over 300 individual islands. Now, have you seen pictures of these blue holes, Mike? You know what I'm talking about?
Yes, I have. They're scary as shit. And that's it's oh god. Yeah, they're so scary. Cuz there you are. You're just swimming along and then it's like, "Oh my god, there's suddenly 10 gajillion miles of water underneath me."
Oh, God, I didn't think about it like that at all. That is horrifying. Even doing research for this, I wanted to look into blue holes and what they were, how they were structured. And I didn't think of it that way. Just like, because I wouldn't be fucking swimming in the ocean, you know me. So I did not picture myself suddenly hitting a 200-foot void. Holy shit, that's terrible.
I mean, it could be worse. It could be a 200-foot deep spider pit.
I would take a 200-foot spider pit over a 200-foot shark pit any day of the week.
Nah, the sharks just want to give you kisses and the occasional hug.
So do the spiders, and one of them could give me radioactive abilities.
Yeah, but the likelihood of that is like 13 trillion to none.
Not since the Spider-Verse shit, dude.
I mean, I guess if we're living in an infinite multiverse, then somewhere there is a spider that will give you superpowers. I'm not convinced that we are in that universe, though.
Well, then we'll get back to the universe of the Lusca.
So does the Lusca give you superpowers if you swim in blue holes? Like, if it attacks you, do you get gills and then you can swim around like Fishman? Do you become a deep one? Is it Cthulhu? Is it another name for Cthulhu?
Ooh, holy shit! You might be right, actually. But
on which one? I just threw out like a bunch of theories.
I say
all of them.
All of them. All of them. Home run.
You become a werefish and a person of Cthulhu. Yes.
But I love this creature because it's one of these ones where it seems to describe two different things all of a sudden. Much like the chupacabras or like almost in the Flatwoods monster in a way. It being seen with its helmet and bulbous round head with a spade-shaped crest in the back, and then the naked half lizard robot man. So it kind of splits into two different things, but traditionally it's described as, and has been described for decades, as pretty much a super octopus, and what we would know as a kraken, something we're all familiar with, a plain old megapus that would take down ships. Yeah.
Boo.
Right? So that's not too cool. And
I liked the killer hat or the Romanian dance better than another super puss.
Yeah, we should totally record ourselves babbling about a hat that will kill you that's found in water after we're done, because that is cooler.
Yes.
But
way cooler.
But it's just a kraken, and when it was reported early on. A fun fact about this thing is that famous blob, the famous photo of that thing that washed up in St. Augustine, Florida.
The globster?
Yeah, in 1896, is said to be the carcass of the Lusca.
Oh, pish posh.
Pish posh. But, although it is commonly mistaken for a waterlogged carcass of a whale, physical specimens taken in 1896 were preserved and exist to this day. And actually,
and what does the DNA show?
Well, there's not enough to gather DNA. And there's actually an episode of Monster Quest that you can watch them do this. But they take the sample and they compare it to other things. They compare it to a tissue from a whale carcass. And then it says it was built like muscle. So then they compare it to the muscle of an octopus. And it's very, very similar. So what's thought to be lard and blubber is actually tissue. So when that washed up, it was said that it was the carcass of a Lusca, and now we know that it's apparently, thanks to Monster Quest, that it's not so much blubber as it appears to be muscle. So maybe possibly something different. What do you think about that? Because we've talked about that one in that picture. It kind of looks like a plesiosaur when it's on the ground, and then there's that other one where it's hung up and it again looks like a Nessie. But what about that Florida globster? Because that's what it just looks like.
Yeah, the globster, I've always read that it's been speculated that it was the blubber left from a decayed whale. That's what, and I mean that's what I've read in just about everything that attempts to explain the globsters. That it's because it's happened before where this frothy mass of goo washes up and it's been blubber that just hasn't sunk to the bottom or been eaten. I'm familiar with the picture, and I remember one of the theories being that it was a giant octopus, which to this day there is no proof that a giant octopus, like, and when I say giant, I mean like I think they were saying it was like 60 feet in diameter or something. We don't have octopuses that big that we're aware of.
Yeah, that we're aware of. And when we talk about giant squids, colossal squids, we know about those, but not mega octopus or octopi. That's something that doesn't exist. Like the giant, I fucking forget the name, but there's a type of octopus like the giant Atlantic octopus or whatever. I'm stupid.
Giant,
I'm sorry.
It's the giant Pacific.
Yes, that's
octopus.
it. That's it. I'm sorry. Yay, go Mike. But that thing, that's like what, 4 feet?
It's 30. So from tip to tip of its tentacle span, they can get up to 30 feet across. But when we're thinking of something like the globster, where they're saying that this was at least double that, if not bigger. Now that 30 feet in length is the largest ever recorded. So that's far from being the average.
Now, where was that seen? Because I was reading about that octopus, the gigantic one. I think the average is 12 feet.
Yeah, that's sounds about right.
And as far as octopus go, that anything that was up to 25 to 30 feet was in the squid realm, not octopus.
Yeah, the giant squid and the colossal squid, they get really long, but their length is mostly in the tentacles, just like the octopus. But the difference is the body structure. Like when you look at a squid is long and bullet shaped with the tentacles being it's the propulsion, but when they eat, it's the forward facing thing. So they go both ways. And with the octopus, the tentacles are underneath the octopus. So, and they're different animals. They just kind of look similar with their tentacles. But the largest giant Pacific octopus weighed about 600 pounds, and it had a 30-foot arm span. But like you said, most of them are in the 10 to 12 feet range.
Wow, that's a massive octopus. I didn't know that octopus that big had been found. I thought that only squids have been found of that size.
No. And the crazy thing is that both the giant Pacific octopus and the giant and colossal squid have only been things that we know exist, like that we've found to be actual living things relatively recently. Like they were old sailors' tales. You know, they were relegated to old timey boat captain stories. You know, the old sailors' yarns. They weren't thought to be a real thing until bodies started washing up, and it's like, oh shit, look at the size of this fucker.
Yeah, I'd be interested to know when an octopus that big was found. When the last time something like that was found, that big of an octopus, because that's when you think about the stories of the Kraken, that's what kind of made it unique, is that it wasn't a giant squid. We have old engravings, wood engravings of giant squid carcasses washed up on the beach, and they're fucking giant. They're giant squid. Underneath in Scandinavian, it says giant squid. But a Kraken, the mythical creature, was supposed to be an octopus, which I found that more interesting. Okay, so with that being said, with on record a 30-foot goddamn octopus existing, the idea that a giant octopus living in these blue holes of the Bahamas is not that crazy. But what stuck out to me is that when you take a look at the evidence for this thing existing is where it gets weird. For starters, this cryptid is a cryptid that's killed people. It's attributed to killing people, possibly thousands of people over hundreds of years. Like all bodies of water that humans spend time in, people are going to die in it. People drowned. These are in tourist spots. These blue holes.
Don't forget the ghost curses too.
Yeah, those affect you. These blue holes are inland as well, and they're very popular for tourists. The water is super duper clear. They're not full of fucking seaweed and tons of shit, so people go swimming in them a lot. So with that, people die in them. And there's plenty of reports of people going swimming in these blue holes in the ocean and inland and dying. Something like missing people in the national parks. Most of those cases are understandable. People are going to disappear. I mean, go missing and then disappear, I believe, in environments like that. That's bound to happen. So how do you pinpoint a Lusca attack in an area where it's not uncommon for people to die or disappear? Well, there's two things. Lusca attacks always take place in these blue holes. And two, like I said, people drowned in these holes, but they don't do so quietly. When somebody's drowning, they splash around, they scream for help, they go under, they pop back up, they disappear, they pop back up a few hours or days later, and they find their body. But when Lusca attacks, no one hears shit, no one sees shit, and nothing is ever found. It's so silent and so undetectable that some people say that it's actually invisible. Now, I couldn't find too much information about it, but there was an attack that comes from somewhere in the mid-2000s from the Andros Islands of an inland blue hole attack from Lusca. It was just a group of friends swimming in these holes. This one particular hole, it was a clear hole, a normal blue hole, but somebody who was swimming with them just literally disappeared. They saw nothing, they heard nothing, and they found nothing. And they attribute that to Lusca. So whatever it is very, very, very efficient. And that, I try to think about, well, what if we're trying to think about this logically? There's an animal there. What could it be? What would you attribute something like this to, Mike? Because it's kind of hard to pin something on. If we're talking about an octopus grabbing someone, you're going to scream. Someone's going to scream. If it's a shark.
But not necessarily. Now, I watched a documentary on Humboldt squids one time, and there was a scuba diver that was diving, and one of the Humboldt squids grabbed her, just the tip of her fin, and pulled her down. In a matter of seconds, she had dropped 20 feet. So if in a matter of seconds she can drop 20 feet just from being grabbed by this thing, it wouldn't take much to, someone could be treading water and then they're gone. Before they even realize that they're grabbed, they're underwater. So then they can scream all they want. They're fucking underwater.
See, I was watching this episode of Monster Quest, and I love watching that show again because I don't think it fucking holds up, man. We could talk about that later, but boy.
Oh, that's too bad.
Yeah,
I haven't watched it since it was on TV. I used to fucking love that show.
Well, they were talking about the Lusca, and they're talking about it being in the Bahamas. So they sent out a team to the Pacific Northern Ocean to look for it. It's like, well, it's not there. I don't understand. But they have these guys who talk about being attacked by one of these giant Pacific octopuses. And it did not take them down. They actually had the whole attack on camera. And I had to laugh my fucking ass off because everybody talks about how intelligent octopuses are. And they're as smart as a 4-year-old child. And can you imagine a normally mellow-tempered octopus trying to attack someone? I mean, that thing has to be thinking, I'm going to fucking kill you. And, it's got to be actively trying to murder this person and kind of know it if it has the mentality of a 4-year-old. But it didn't drag him down. And he was in serious trouble. It took out his respirator. It started to take off his goggles. It didn't drag him down. And I heard in a couple places that if an octopus was doing this in these blue holes, it would have to be way bigger than the biggest octopus ever recorded.
See, that's I don't think that's correct. And for one, if anything is going to be attacking people and pulling them down into these places, it's going to be a squid, not an octopus. Um, the squid would have the speed to be able to do it, especially a Humboldt squid or an even bigger squid. Humboldt squids can get up to 6 feet tall, or 6 feet tall. Like they're just walking around. Hey, can get up to 6 feet long. So they're the same length as a person, way stronger. And if they get their tentacles on you, or if they bite onto part of your body and pull you under, you're going with them. You're not gonna be able to fight off a surprise attack. You might be able to break free after initially being pulled down, but the thing is, with Humboldt squids, especially once a feeding frenzy starts, they go fucking nuts. They'll attack each other. They don't even give a fuck. They're going in and ripping apart. So if something starts attacking and they signal by changing the patterns on their body. So a lot of times if you're watching a documentary, you'll see it'll look like they're flickering or blinking. And that's not the light coming through the waves. That's actually the body. It's pigmentation changing to make it provide a rippling effect or whatever effect it's trying to do. And that's one way that they communicate. So it could be registering that this is a meal, it's mealtime, and then on the other ones see it, and you're pulled 20 feet underwater, and within a matter of seconds, you're being torn apart by 10 squids.
I agree. I mean, the Humboldt squid doesn't even have that, like, almost like a attack tentacle that retracts fast as fuck.
I don't know if the Humboldt squid does. I know the giant and the colossal squid, they've got the two feeding tentacles.
Right.
The Humboldt squid might as well. I can't recall off the top of my head, but the bigger ones I know for a fact do, and they go out. They're like the ones that they extend out to grab the food, and then they pull it in, and then they use the smaller ones to hold the prey in place while they rip it to shreds like savage monsters.
All right. So next I was going to go into more of what could this be. And, talking about what we just did, you do make a good point with it doesn't necessarily have to be the biggest octopus ever recorded if you're talking about a fucking squid. So what does, and again, I agreed with you. I agree with you. It's a squid. But this is where the cool split comes in when we're talking about a different creature, because this started off as a giant octopus. And the name Lusca actually translates into shark octopus.
So there's a native word for sharktopus, is what you're telling me.
Hell yeah.
Nice.
Yes, but
just what the world needed, a sharktopus.
Absolutely. But I think I get the feeling of the whole chupacabra thing. When they were reporting it being a green little creature that we talked about, like they did in, early 90s, before it turned into a dog, the American chupacabras. Most of the time people say they couldn't see it and move so fast they couldn't see it. So I was like, well, how can you describe it? And it kind of sounds like they're calling it a shark octopus based on its actions, not because anybody's seeing it or they're actually seeing a shark octopus. I mean, when you look up the Lusca, the art for it is awesome. And now there's been a fucking shitty B movie about a sharktopus, I guess. So there's a lot of fan art of that. But if you look up you can find some really cool paintings of sharktopus things taking down boats that look pretty cool that are supposed to be the Lusca. But I don't know if I even agree with that because, okay, since you went on the path of the squid, we're on the same path there. I definitely don't agree with a shark because that's going to cause screaming, splashing, blood, torn clothes, torn body parts. They're not finding that when they're experiencing what they're calling these Lusca attacks.
So I don't know for I'm just throwing this out there, but typically when a shark attacks a person, there's going to be stuff left behind, especially if it's a swimming hole. Someone's going to notice because humans are not the sharks. We're not on the menu typically. If a person gets killed by a shark, it's usually due to a test bite, which is basically the shark seeing if you're edible or not. They
Right.
don't have hands, so they're like, let me give you a test bite. But they're big, strong creatures with super sharp teeth. So a test bite that would cause a little bit of attention. I could see maybe if it was somebody that was swimming alone and they were never found again. But you're not, for one, sharks, if they are going to attack and eat somebody, they're not going to go on a murder spree. Like this isn't Jaws where the shark is just killing and killing and killing everybody. It's not claiming multiple victims in one day. So if it's going to take one person, chances are other people that are there are going to be aware that that person was attacked by a shark.
Right.
I
There's
think
at least
it would
going to be more evidence.
yeah, some thrashing around, blood, whatever. I think if it was a squid attack, I think it's going to be a lot less likely that you're going to see, or well, I shouldn't say it'll be a lot less likely. I think it would be a lot easier for that person to just disappear.
I didn't know that was the biggest octopus ever caught on record. I was thinking, maybe it could be an octopus that's big. And in 2011, in the Bahamas, there was a 25 to 30 foot, 290-pound octopus that washed up on shore. And that really happened. They have photographic evidence. It was collected and examined. They said that the locals kind of looted it, took off parts of it. And when it was found, they only had pieces left. But they were able to pretty much piece it together with what they had left and come up with that size. So, but I still don't think an octopus would do that. So I wanted to look at something that stood out to me, which was the environment of the place, these blue holes. And I looked into blue holes a little bit, and they're pretty weird themselves. They could easily be like USO bases or underwater portals just by the way they look. But apparently, they go all the way back to the ocean, these holes. Even the ones inland. All these inland ones go back to the ocean. And to do so from inland, they go deeper than the ocean itself. And they are most likely all connected. So when I thought of that, I didn't think that was natural. I think that something massive made a tunnel system. So I started to think, what type of animal makes tunnels like that? Now, the original reports of Lusca state that it's sometimes reported as over 75 feet long.
But if they can't see it, how can they gauge the size?
I don't know. It's just some reports. So I had to think about what could make tunnels like that. And then I came across one description, and there it was. It said, in one word or another, don't think octopus shark. Think squid eel. So I looked up what type of eel would make a tunnel system, because when you talk about octopus, it's in a fucking cavern or a little cave, right? Sharks are badass. They don't have to live in a fucking house. They swim around and eat shit. So I kind of excluded octopus and shark, but if we're talking about squid, which can do the killing that quietly, an eel, I fucking found an eel. It's called an engineer gobby. And that's exactly what they do, is they make huge tunnel systems. They're so good at building that they're called engineers. So I think it is a goddamn gigantic squid eel, not octopus shark.
A squid eel?
Yeah, there's plenty of places that have fucking oceans and islands around it, and they don't have these blue holes. I think that was made by something massive that's living near there.
Or maybe it's the aquatic version of Tremors.
Exactly. But it's got to be eel-like, right?
Yeah, I think it'd be more likely eel-like. I don't think it would even necessarily need to have any squiddy appendages. It could just be huge, gigantic terror eel.
I know, but then I thought about like the cuttlefish. Everybody knows how cool it is when you see an octopus change colors, and even
spoiler alert, they don't really cuddle.
No, they don't. But everybody knows how well octopuses can camouflage and even change the texture of their skin to match their environments. But when you see a cuttlefish display its color changing abilities, it's just something else. So what if this giant eel thing can kind of just, I don't know, my mind kind of played a horror movie scene to where these people are in this hole that's maybe, it's got a ladder going down into it. There's maybe like a 6-foot little ledge you got to climb up to get out of this hole. And somebody just goes under the water. Nobody notices anything. And you see part of the wall just kind of slide back down into the water as if it maybe was part of this eel that can camouflage itself well enough to blend into the surroundings to where nobody would see it.
Yeah, I like this theory. I don't believe this theory, but I really like this theory.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what I mean. If you go YouTube these little engineer eels, and I know that I thought eels lived in caves. I'm not a fucking eel man. I'm sure they kind of made a tunnel that they can back into, but these little guys make systems.
We need to get an eelographer.
We need to get an eel on here and ask him some questions. Fucking eelographer.
We got some questions. If any of you out there listening are an eel, please contact us immediately. We've got some serious questions for you, young man or young lady. But
it just seemed weird to me to hear about how these blue holes are all connected and they go deeper than the fucking ocean itself. And I don't know. It's just, I think you'd see that everywhere. And if you would see that everywhere, or in other places, wouldn't you hear about the same type of strange deaths? Maybe that Lacucci fucking died off years ago, and other places where there are blue holes. And the one in the Bahamas is just thriving because it's able to fucking, geez, dude, they can go anywhere and leave anywhere, escape, go into the ocean. It's just getting fed tourists in these inland blue holes.
Just picture it, like all of a sudden one day, just chilling. You look out your window and you're like, there's a fucking blue hole in my backyard. And of course, people want to check it out. So like, oh my God, you got a blue hole in your backyard. Yeah, but that was just a yard. And now it's filled with ocean water. And I'm not near an ocean. Why is that going on? And then next thing you know, you're mowing your lawn and a fucking tentacle snaps out, grabs you, pulls you in, and you're just a strange disappearance at that point.
Yeah.
No one's going to believe that you have a fucking evil hat that lives in your water hole that kills you.
So let's say we're buying this whole thing and there could be a giant eel squid that's living in the Bahamas eating people for decades and decades. How crazy is that it's possibly killed so many, like a ton of people over time.
Well, the thing is, you can't confirm that they were killed by any one thing.
Oh no, I mean, just like you can't confirm Bigfoot's killed anybody, but people still claim that they have, they've been attacked, but just to have...
Well, those people are goddamn liars, Mateo.
Well, it's just...
Bigfoot is a gentle creature that just wants to hug and maybe caress you. And if you let him, maybe play a little slap and tickle, but he is not a murderer. He likes to pick daisies and frolic with birds. And anyone that says otherwise has a bias against Bigfoot, and they hate America.
You don't know a real Bigfoot. That's just what you see on TV. But just for a cryptid to have deaths attributed to it, like that's how they know of it. And there's other things like that, like things that, maybe the fucking Witch of the Woods got him, when normally it's just probably some dude that was too drunk and got lost in the 1700s or something like that. But
I prefer the Witch of the Woods over drunken misbehavior.
Me too. But the locals in the Bahamas, I mean, they take it seriously. It's not so much of a... You tell the kids that so they're careful where they swim, because people are swimming in these blue holes regardless. It's an actual explanation to a way somebody dies. It's kind of weird. It's not a spooky place. People go there. People go there as tourists. It's not like an abandoned hospital where like, don't go in there. It's haunted and you'll never come out. It's not like that. It's not in a giant wooded area where not too many people go and who knows what the fuck's out there. This is a place where people frequent. I mean, the water's clear. You can look in there and see what's in there. That's why people go swim in it. There's not a bunch of loose debris flying around, no seaweed. It's ocean water. It's clear water. But then there's something in there that just kills people in an unexplicable way. It's fucking weird.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I think if anything, it's people getting tired and drowning, maybe an underwater current, or brutal squid attacks.
I don't know.
Or a combination of the above.
It definitely could be. I mean, people getting drunk, like it's a tourist attraction type thing. That's definitely going to happen. But there are those reports where people were like, yeah, we were out here drinking, and and that guy struggled and splashed and he sunk and we didn't see him again, and that's a drowning. But when people are, it's like the park shit, dude. They're saying there's people that were swimming with us that were just gone 1 second. No wake on the water, like they dived or went under or anything like that. They just disappeared. It's very unique than what a loud splashing drowning person situation would be.
I don't know. I think it's really easy to attribute a missing person on the sea to an attack or a monster or something. But I mean, the reality is you're in an environment that is inhospitable to human life, and all it takes is one fuck up and you're dead. Like you get one gulp of water in your lungs and you could die.
That's why I stay out of the fucking ocean. Sharks and water. It's not our element, folks. Just don't go in there. It's beautiful. Look at it. Yeah. Put your fucking toesies in there. That's good. I go to the beach too, motherfucker. But I don't swim in that goddamn devil-infested pot of salty death.
I just like to wiggle my toes.
God damn it.
Thank you for listening to the Whatcast. You can find us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, iTunes, and YouTube. Enjoy the podcast. Get yourself a Whatcast t-shirt or a sticker pack. Who was that dude on that one episode? Try the links in Homie's page. All this and more can be found at www.thewhatcasters.com. Thanks again for listening and have a great week.